Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully, you can all see and hear me. If you can give me a shout out, it would be give me a 5B5 and we'll go from there. But on the screen currently is obviously a meme Ivermectin 6 strips minimum order at no maximum, £15 a strip. There are 10 in a strip. Email graham.moore at protonmail.com. Subject Ivermectin, then state how many strips required, full name and address and postcode. You have the right to self-defence by any means. As an Englishman or a Welshman or an Irishman or a Scotsman, because we share those rights under the English Bill of Rights, and I'm going to be explaining some of that again tonight. So the information is up on your screen. Lots of people have contacted me. I just want to make sure I express this to you again. For the government to not allow you to have ivermectin, or they allow it, but they allow it in such a dismal, silly quantity, they know that the quantities they offer it in, it will have no real effect on cancer. It is curing cancers. It is putting people with cancer in remission. It does stop colds and flus. I use it continuously from October through till March as a prophylactic twice a week, and it does assist, right? So I just want everyone to understand that. Again, they had a lot of information about this online on a lot of medical journals, and also the fact that it did. They knew it had a positive effect for cancer patients, and especially prostate cancer as well. But there's a number of cancers, and fenbendazole, and there's other things that you can use as well. But I will be doing a show next week and going through that, and I will be talking about that at our event in Mablethorpe. So any government that is assisting pharmaceuticals in profiteering from people's illnesses, especially if they're terminal, that is completely and utterly wrong, and you have the right to self-defense by any means. You have the right to keep and bear arms, and what that means is anything that defends you, and that includes, in the principle, that includes ivermectin. So again, I'm just going to put that on the screen. Give me a 5B5 if you can see and hear me. Now I've got to try and get off of that, disconnect, and go on to this. Can you all see and hear me? Hopefully you can, and I haven't gone off. So yes, I am there. I am he, talking to thee. I just had a really good conversation with John Harding in Colesville. Unfortunately, he had a fall in the week, and he was on the pavement with cars driving past because they couldn't see him. He couldn't get up, and he was on the floor for 3/4 of an hour shouting help. Right. So obviously, we want prayers for John, and although he is now indoors, obviously. But just to make sure everyone is aware of this, it is John's birthday, John Harding's birthday tomorrow, and he will be 83 years young. He's asked me, can you reset up? Because I can't get to these places, and I want to talk to people, and I want to talk to you and all that. And I want to talk to you and tell you about different things. And I went, yeah, that's all right. He said, well, reset up your mobile calling and everything. So, John, I will be. I've got to sort out a different size table in here. But I will sort that set it up. And we'll see if we can have the call in for the pub again. And then John can call in. And don't forget, John is originally from Devon. And I said, can you do your Devon accent? He said, when I first moved up here, he says, I used to talk like Jeffro. I love that accent, right? Let me tell you something. There was a geezer the other day in a pub round here, right? And I just listened to it. I went quiet when I listened to his accent. I want to mimic it, but it's not me taking the piss. I just love the accent, right? Jeffro used to have me in fucking tears telling me jokes, right? Not me personally, but you know what I mean. Like what I'm doing with you, just sitting there and he talked through a joke. But his accent used to get me as well. He was, and this is what happened. And the way they roll their R's forever, right? I just think it's hilarious, right? They're natural comedians as well. There you go. Well, they must be natural comedians at £5.20 a pint. And get away with it. It's even worse in London. The most I've ever paid for a pint in London was £18 for a pint of lager. Does anyone remember being with me when I got the fucking bill for that? I was like, I bought around. I didn't realise how much I still bought the beers, but what I said to people was, let's go and find another pub. We ain't drinking in here. £18 a pint for a lager. Let's have a quick look. It's to keep the riffraff out. Didn't work with us. Let's have a quick look. Anyone out there? If the English are here, yes, they are indeed. And I am going to try and in Hilton, Los. Yeah, that's it. Steve Lomas is back. Los Lomos, 77 in Hilton. Yeah, it was in Hilton. We just come off a big demo to do with lockdowns. We walked for 9 hours. I was like, what? We just kept walking, and it was 1.5 million people, and the BBC didn't even fucking mention it. 1.5 people on the streets, and they didn't. That's how bad these people are, right? But we need to take this country back, and I've never surrendered to these people. Hi, Graham. Who's that? Says that Archaeology. You could have a go at learning this accent too. What's that one? I don't know what one that is. See if we can bring it up. I'll have to get the link in the thing to be able to bring that up. Let's have a look. Good evening, DD. Good evening, everyone. Jay Faulkner call. Evening. JK, it's me. Ironworks, Treaty, Chuck Money. I'm getting lots of positive feedback from different people with reference to Restore Britain. I'm seeing a couple of other bits of feedback I'm not liking. We need as many of us. If I told you, I can't tell you exactly, only because I ain't got the details on me, but there's well in excess of 3,000 of us, right, who are highly active and actual campaigners and people that actually do stuff, right? You don't need hundreds of thousands of people, but to get your voice heard, you do need to join Restore Britain, and you need to become vocal about England, right? But I see something the other day from someone, which I'm not going to say too much about, because I don't want to start causing problems. But I am going to say to people, listen, it's the British that fucked this country up. If you're of Irish descent, if you're of Welsh descent and Scottish descent, right, you should understand something. You fucked up Scotland, you fucked up Wales, you fucked up Ireland, right? Don't then come over here with your second, third, fourth generation, right, and change England into some vision that you want it to be, right? England is going back to being England, and if you are really a patriot to your own countries, right, you would fuck off back to them countries and solve the problem by going back to full-blooded nationalists, right, and you would remove yourself from any popish behaviour in any form, right? And in particular, Southern Ireland. Peter Sutherland was the UN architect of the invasion of Europe as you see it today, and he's Irish, right? Don't blame the English for what's going on in Southern Ireland. In fact, you was protected in Southern Ireland with the Magna Carta and the English Bill of Rights. You rejected that and went for full popism and Roman law jurisdiction, and now you're suffering, right? That's my point to some of these people. If you think you're going to change England and shape it into something that you think it should look like, that's failed all over fucking Europe, right? England was always different in the way that we governed ourselves. If you don't like it, fuck off back to where you come from. I'm not just talking to black people or brown people here. I'm talking to white people. I'm talking to people who technically talk English, but now all of a sudden they want to talk fucking Gaelic, right? If you don't like it here, fuck off. It's quite simple, right? And I'm not saying this to Irish people that love England, because there's plenty of them, or Welsh, that there's plenty of them. They consider themselves to be English, right? Then people are quite welcome to stay here and help us take back England, but it's the others that are not, right? And there's plenty of people out there that think they're all big toughies and all that. They're not. And they haven't got the brains they was fucking born with. But one of the things I will mention tonight, because someone sent me a really funny, when I say funny, let me have a look. I'll see if I can bring that up in a second. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can do that or not. Oh, no. I could bring up another one. I showed someone it the other day. Hang on, let me have a look. I don't know if I could bring that one up there. That's too much of a video to bring up, I think, to get to any parts that you want me to talk about. Let me go back into this. This is important. So I'm going to bring this up, and if there's some big accounts out there, there's another account that I want to talk to someone about in a minute. This is funny. Basil the Great, who he's another unionist, right? Let me just make sure I'm clear on this. Unionists are a minority. They're suppressing the English. They're suppressing the English voice. And that's not a good thing, right? It's called censorship. When you won't allow people to have an opinion, it's called censorship, right? Just to make sure I'm clear on that, alternative channels out there, even if they initially disagreed with me, have had me on and said, you know something, you're right. And you must be prepared to walk away to make a difference. We've got a bad deal at the moment, and we should be prepared to walk away from it. And these people are not. But I'm going to show you something on the screen at the moment. Let me kill that one, because I don't want people seeing where it come from. But you'll think this is funny. I'm going to tell you a story. Sounds like Max Bygraves now, don't I? Right, here we go. Basil the Great, right? Just to let everybody know, it's been revealed publicly that this supposedly independent and honest barrister, no such fucking thing, right? Who recently went on mass blocking spree, blocked me fucking about a year ago, right? Getting people don't say, when it happens to me, they don't say anything, right? And they don't say anything because they're happy for me to be censored. I think that's disgusting. Actually is a shill for Reform UK, and he's directly working for them. In other words, he's getting a retainer from them, right? Stephen Barrett, blah, blah, blah. Evil Bridget rightly highlighted Rupert's questionable treatment of women, right? This is an attack on Rupert Lowe. This is disgusting, right? There is not, let me tell you something, Rupert Lowe is the only person I've seen stand up. Not only has he stood up for women in this country, not only is he talking about private prosecutions, not only is he is pushing forward himself and says, I don't care, right, and marching forward. Let me tell you something else. He's the only person who's turned around and said, well, listen, COVID, the people will be prosecuted. You've started seeing prosecutions in America, right? Or you will be seeing prosecutions. And one of the part of the wording they used in America for the guy that they've just indicted that was next to Anthony Fauci, talking about, I showed someone earlier on a clip of him being questioned. He's banging shit, the geezer. And part of the indictment is basically subversion of the Constitution, right? But in relation to this again, Rupert Lowe has put a thing out about Stephen Barret, a deeply unpleasant man. Rupert, I could not agree more, right? Now, to tell you the reason why he blocked me, he was on Twitter and he started giving it large on GB News and his own channel. This is these fake channels that are being pushed and promoted because they're British, right? While channels like mine are censored by the algorithms, right? He said that Parliament is sovereign and they could make or break any law they so wished, right? And I said that is incorrect. He come back and said, and this is common for barristers to say it, and I want you to listen to the words carefully. He said, this is Stephen Barret, that blonde-haired, blue-eyed babies, male babies, could be put to death tomorrow. It could be ordered by Parliament and that would be perfectly legal. And I said, no, it wouldn't. It would be repugnant to the people. And if there is a repugnant law or it goes against reason or right, the people have the right, and the law courts would state that is no law at all. It is null and void. So therefore, it cannot be sovereign. He argued against that, and I said, let me change the question, Stephen, considering he's gay or bisexual or whatever you want to call him, right? He's fucking raving iron, the geezer, right? And obviously mentally ill, right? Probably dresses as a woman in his spare time, right? Stephen Barret said, I said to Stephen Barret, let me put the question a different way, because the way you've put the question is deeply racist. You've mentioned blonde-haired, blue-eyed babies. If I was to say black babies, brown babies, or I was to say to you that all gays should be put to death tomorrow, including bisexuals, you're saying that if Parliament passed that law, it would be perfectly legal and you'd have nothing to say about it. And the people and the public would have nothing to say about it and it would be law. And then he blocked me. Right? So these people cannot debate anything. Now there's a doctor out there. Again, I want to show you this because I think it's really important that people understand this. This is the difference. Let's put this. Did everyone just understand what I said? Neil Russell, Barret is a wanker. Yeah, I couldn't have put it better myself. He is an arrogant, ignorant little shit. That's what he is. The problem we've got in this country is that we have a monopoly. We have a monopoly in pharmaceutical, in the medical profession, and we have a monopoly at law, right? Where people are channeled to think a certain way by universities, and normal everyday people, self-educated, don't get a look in. There was two things that come up about this. Someone sent me, and again, hopefully I can show it on the screen, because it was really interesting, and I did have a look at it. Let me see if I can actually bring it up. Let me see if I can bring it up for you on the screen. Touch wood, it will come up. There it is, right? So I'm going to bring it. So there's two aspects to this, and then I need to find the next aspect. So don't let me. This is going to be. I think this is interesting to people, right? And there's a reason why I'm saying it. So here we have someone called Che Bowles, right? In 1939 England, with Europe teetering on the precipice of World War II, a self-taught amateur archaeologist, Basil Brown, a farmer's son with no formal education, was hired by a curious landowner, Edith Preety, for a modest £1.50 a day to explore mysterious mounds on her land. What Brown uncovered in her Suffolk field would become one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in history. Beneath a grassy mound lay the ghostly imprint of a 27-metre, that's a fucking big ship, long Anglo-Saxon ship. The most spectacular medieval ship burial ever found in Europe. Inside the burial chamber were over 260 breathtaking treasures, including a legacy iron helmet, a replica in the video attached, one of only a handful known from the period, a gold shoulder clasps set with Sri Lankan garnets, which proved that they was global, Byzantine silverware, a purse of exotic coins, weapons, a lyre, and artifacts from across the Europe and Asia. This isn't just a haul, it's one of the rarest archaeological discoveries in history. Ship burials from this area are incredibly scarce. Now, if you go and read the whole story, they tried to poo-poo the fella who wasn't a university archaeologist, right? He was self-educated. He had a passion for archaeology, and he was the one who found all this. And there's a whole story about it. And this is a replica of the helmet that they found, right? But it's really important. And there's a video there. There's an actual. You can go and have a look at that. The Dig. It's a film on Wikipedia, and they basically tried to ride him out. They didn't give him any credit for the dig. They tried. There was lots of people should understand this. It's on the screen if anyone wants to go and have a look at it. Let's see if I can copy that link. Copy link address, and I'll put it out there to everyone watching. If you want to go and have a look at it, it's really interesting. But basically, that's one of the things that I wanted to show you. Let me show you the other one. This is really important as well. And this is to do with Dr. Malik. And why it's important, Dr. Not sure if that's the guy or not, but no, it ain't. So I've got to try and find. Let's see if I can find Andrew Bridgeton. Andrew Bridgeton, because he sent this out today, and it's really important. Pinned, the COVID cover-up is unravelling. Let's see if this is right. This is one I want to show you. Again, people don't realise how badly this geezer's in the shit, right? And I've got to show you this. Again, follow. Oh, it's come off for some reason. Follow Andrew Bridgeton. He has redeemed himself somewhat. The COVID cover-up is unravelling. Department of Justice has indicted former advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci. Fauci got a Jesuit award for allegedly concealing records on COVID-19. David Moran, 78, has been charged with conspiracy against the United States. That's treason. Destruction, alteration, and falsification of evidence, right? Listen to this.
Applied to that testimony, and if you made false statements, you could be subject to criminal prosecution. Do you recall that? Your microphone's not on, I don't think. Yeah.
Do I keep it on or only when I talk?
Whenever you're talking, yes.
Sorry, I remember you telling me, I think what you're referring to is telling me that even though I wasn't under oath, I was bound to tell the truth. Is that what you said?
Yes, and that you
Yes.
could be subject to criminal prosecution.
Yes, you told me that.
Okay. Today you are under oath, and we will be comparing your statements today to those you gave previously. The majority of my questions today will be simple yes or no questions. On April 21, 2021, you wrote, "I can either send stuff to Tony Fauci on his private email or hand it to him at work or at his house." Did you ever send information related to COVID-19 to Dr. Fauci's personal email?
I don't remember if I did. I may have, but I certainly told him some things that he asked me to tell him about the situation with Peter.
Thank you. On May 13th, 2021, you wrote that you connected a reporter to Dr. Fauci via your secret back channel. What back channel did you have for Dr. Fauci?
Well, all these terms like secret back channel and
This is where it is completely and utterly fucked up. If you show this to the jury, that geezer's going down.
the other one you mentioned were just jokes, just, jokes that I made in dealing with Peter because he was under death threats and was very depressed. And it was sort of the group of people who were Peter's friends were trying to cheer him up by making snarky jokes and euphemisms that were.
But just to let you know, this is like a communist Marxist under pressure now. They know we're coming for them.
Not true. But there was no back channel. The back channel was, the back channel to Tony was the same one that it applies to everybody. And may I say,
Which is? Which is what?
well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
There's Tony does not want me to connect anybody to him directly. And with one exception, a couple of weeks ago, I never did. But the back channel was a regular channel within.
So the back channel was, but it was all a joke, really. But there is a back channel, right? This geezer is an absolute wrong one, and we are coming for them. Bridget Phillipson appalling smear against Rupert Lowe in the House of Commons yesterday because she didn't want to answer the question. When they don't like what you are saying, they just go for a hominem attack, which is what happens to me and you, right? And we need to start to make sure that people in Restore Britain understand that from the 2011 census, it was clear that British nationality was a minority in this country, right? Meaning England. There was a particular thing that he sent out today, and I'm looking for it. Oh, is that it? That's the one. This is really right. So William Mackis, breaking news: Mayo Clinic is offering me an executive director position for up to £400,000 or dollars, should I say, with extras. Oh, and they're not the only one. My email inbox is suddenly filling up with executive job offers from several big pharmaceutical companies. So this is what I get for helping 9,000 plus cancer patients with ivermectin and benzodazole and leading the largest ivermectin cancer project in the world. After talking about a new Florida cancer clinic, if they can't sabotage me, they'll just buy me out. That's what they're trying to do. I have to admit, it is mildly amusing. 10 years ago, I may have jumped at something like this. I'm not interested in money, trust me. These people are outrageous in what they're doing, right? And to make sure you're all aware, barristers, particularly British barristers, have a monopoly, and we need to stop that and go back to the original English law, because there are a set of statutes to protect us, and no one's bringing them up because the British are literally muting the barristers, right? I have to admit it's mildly amused 10 years ago, right? But at this stage of my life, I can't say I felt even a hint of temptation. They really don't know me very well. That's a bit like me. I don't give a fuck. As Rupert Lowe says, I don't care. Right? I'm not interested in money. I'm interested in people, and I'm interested in England. I'm interested in saving England and passing the eternal flame of freedom on to the next generation. That is it. If I die a pauper, I'll die a pauper. I can earn £1 note, unlike these fuckers who can't earn a fucking penny, right? Because they need monopolies to be able to make money. He says, sorry, Mayo Clinic, I'm building a cancer centre in Florida and it's going to be a bit different from yours, right? This is exactly the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to show you something and I'm going to get to a point, right? So thank you for your interest. Below is a full overview of the Executive Director, Theranostics and Nuclear Medicine position, Mayo Clinic, right? 400,000 plus base plus performance incentives, research funding and executive level benefits, right? Now, this is the bit that's important. No degree requirement. This is really important. This is how America works, right? Experience and clinical leadership track record is prioritized, right? So when I started working for the American company and I didn't have a degree in data communications, data centers, and telecommunications, I had an interview and 4 engineers interviewed me, right? They wasn't interested in the fact that I didn't have a degree. They said to me, we want to know whether you can do the job. We believe you can, and we want you in that position, because I had a different mental concept to people that come out of university. In other words, I could see a problem in a different way to them. They was all trained in looking at a problem in a certain way. I looked at a problem and solved it in a way that it wouldn't happen again is the first. 2, it must be as simple as possible, not too complex. And 3, it's got to be cost effective, right? And that's how literally within 18 months, I went from 22 grand a year to £80,000 a year salaried, plus bonuses, plus pension, plus everything, was being flown all around the world, won massive contracts for this American company because they trusted me. The customers that I was talking to, the other thing is, because it was highly technical, I could judge my audience and they liked it, right? They said, when you start talking, you understand who your audience is, whether it's the chief technology officer, whether it's the CEO, whether it's this, or if it's not, it's a different pitch to them than it is to the technical director. The technical director understands at different levels, and we can have a highly technical discussion. But the CEO and the CTO are going to go, I don't understand anything you're saying. You need to tell me, how do I make money out of this? And you have to pitch to your audience, but you have to know what you're doing, right? But all I'm doing is pointing out of that part, no degree requirement, experience in clinical leadership and track record prioritized. So what they do with people like me now, and there's many people like me that have had successful careers in other areas, they have monopolized the legal system. And once you put a monopoly in place, the only people that suffer the consequence of a monopoly are the consumer. The consumer suffers. That's why in America, so we've got anti-monopoly laws here going back 800 years, right? Where the Crown was trying to monopolise printing because people were printing stuff that went against the monarchy, right? It's a form of censorship. The same thing is going on now. So what we've got to try and do is persuade Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain. Listen, the people you're worried because the British, and whether it's Jewish, whether it's Islam, it doesn't matter who it is, the Jesuits, right? Whoever's got control of the media are lying to people and making out that the English is such a minority that we don't exist anymore, when that is wrong. In fact, if you come out of London, most people still describe, I drive around Devon, I see the Devon flag and I see the English flag, right? But you've got to be careful of those coming out of London that have got the British mentality and will end up destroying Devon, right? And they will. For me, Devon is crucially important because it is so crucially important to England, not to Britain, to England as a nation, right? and again, if I was to go through all the history, but do you understand all this? What I've just said to you, and why it's so important? The degree requirement. You will start getting people. Let me see if I can stop sharing that. You'll start getting people with degrees are funneled in a certain way, right? And they don't open their minds. But they think they've got a bit of paper, so now I can get a job, and I'm just going to stay within that framework. Whereas people like us don't do that. We're open-minded, and we will see the whole field, right? To give you another indication, there's two I thought of today. I was thinking about this show as I was walking around today. A motor mechanic. I think I've told you this story before. He came to see me to buy a car off me, and we was having a chat. I was buying and selling Volkswagen Caravels. I owned and operated a place called the Caravel Centre. And he came to see me, and he wanted to buy this van and convert it. During the conversation, we was just having a normal everyday conversation. Like, people used to come and see me, we was just like having a chat about motors, right? And then he started telling me that he'd bought a BMW M3. It was an £80,000 car, right? But he'd stripped it all out for track days and only uses it on track days. He'd put a roll cage in it, and he was telling me, and it was brand new. It's just been delivered. I said, "What, you're telling me you've just butchered an £80,000 car for track days?" He went, "Yeah." And I went, "What do you do for a living?" He went, "Well, I used to be a motor mechanic." I went, "Yeah." I thought he was going to say, "What?" And I was like, "What, you won the lottery?" He went, "Not quite." He said, "I went back to college, not university, college." He said, "I don't like universities." And he'd done an electronics degree, or course, sorry, not a degree. And during doing it, he was playing with sensors, right? So I thought, all right. And then he said, like sensors, but also gas sensors and things like that. And I was connecting them up to like signals and all that. And I said, all right. And he said, and then I think he said his brother-in-law was a fireman. And they'd had conversations about how many people died of smoke inhalation, and people die of smoking inhalation rather than the flames, right? So he designed electronically and patented a smoke alarm, right? Put the sensors in, put a bleeper in. He created it. He took it to the fire brigade and said, "How about this?" Right? And then he lit a fire underneath it, smoke hit it, bang, went off, and said it would get people out of the house. It went global for obvious reasons, and he had patented it. I can't remember if he got 10 pence a unit or £1 a unit, but anyway, he had plenty of money after that, right? And then he was still inventing things. But my point to you is he was just a normal working man, a tradesman, a very intelligent man. He was a lovely fella to talk to. I've still got his number on my phone, funny enough. But my point to you is this, right? And it is really important. Without the three prerequisite rights: freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and freedom of thought, he didn't have the freedom of event to invent without having them three fundamental freedoms, unrestrained by a technical degree saying you must only look at this. A bit like pharmaceutical companies train medical doctors, yet they don't teach anyone about nutrition, right? So you need a much broader way of looking at things. The point is, that's what the guy did. And then there was another fella, I can't remember his name. It'll come to me in a couple of minutes. Let's see if I can find his name for you. It's really important. So let me look on my phone, because I was thinking the guy was a farmer, as far as I remember, again. And there was a particular type of engine, and it was during the Second World War, and everyone said you're not going to be able to build this. You're not going to be able to get this right. And there was a particular video. Let me see if I can find. Well, how would I get to my history page? History. Let me see if I can find it on here. It's quite famous, and don't forget, Charles Babbage was English and created the first computer in 1832. And it was the difference machine. And then he created something called the analytical machine, which I don't think was actually put together and made, but they proved this concept was in 2002. The World Wide Web works because of Tim Berners-Lee, right, who created the World Wide Web as we know it today. There was protocols. I used to work on some of the earliest inventions on the internet, including global fiber optics and satellite systems. And infrared systems. I'm going to try and find this for you. Let's see if I can find it. I'm not sure if that is the guy. I think it is him. I think. What was his name? Yeah, that is it. Right, it's a great. If anyone wants to go and watch this, it's a great video. Let me see if I can push it out to you. It was an English engineer. Let's see if I can see his name in there. Bristol, 1944, Bristol, England. A factory was producing 2015 aircraft engines in a single month, right? But these ain't normal engines, right? 1,000 cylinders and 1,000 precision machine sleeves rolling off every 4 hours. By war's end, more than 60,000 of these engines will power the Lancaster, the Halifax, the Stirling, the Wellington, and the Beaufighter, the backbone of the RAF Bomber Command, and the Hercules, right? Which only come out of, I think, production or use in the 1960s. The man who designed every single one of them is not allowed inside the building. 2 years earlier, while the engines were winning the war, his own board of directors handed him a dismissal letter. The same year, the king handed him a knighthood. And this is not only a story about dogfights, but the forensic audit of how Britain rewarded the engineer who solved the most impossible manufacturing problem in the 20th century aviation, and how a boardroom of cousins, because they own the company, didn't like that he had more power than them, right? And he gives them back 200 grand because the company needed the money. So he'd earned it, he'd give it back to them. Right, 200 grand in the 1940s was a fucking lot of money, right? You could go and buy a fucking 1,000-acre farm for 50 quid. Or something in that region. And how a boardroom of cousins erased him from the company. So it should tell me his name on there. Hopefully it's on there. And there was a big discussion about him in Hansard. Remember when I talk about I'll go to Hansard and read all this stuff? But it basically gives what his name was. But he created this engine. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up, and I'm going to post it out there because it's fucking interesting, they didn't like the fact that he was just a normal everyday bloke. They didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that he was clever. They said he was a bit of a bastard to work for, right? Because he didn't stop. He just kept in his head 24/7. Like, he woke up in the morning and said, "That's what I'm going to do today," and he done it, right? But all over the world, even in America, the engineers in America said, "You ain't going to do this." There was a special type of exhaust system for the pistons. And it meant that you had to change the way the engine was designed, right? And to do that, you also had to change the composition of the piston and put a piston sleeve in, and the sleeve could not change. And they kept seizing these engines because they couldn't get the tolerance right. The tolerance was like a thousandth of an inch, And they said, you're not going to be able to make the alloy that at high speed and temperature drops when you get up into the sky, all these other things, that you're just going to buckle the pistons, right? And the bores for the pistons. But he created this, right? And then there was a tiny space between the sleeve for the piston and the bore, and in that tiny gap, which was finer than a human hair, it had to have this oil in it, right, permanently, right. He solved all the problems. That's what I call engineering, right? As soon as I started watching this, I was like, that's a bit of me. I would be like, how do you solve this problem? And he solved it all. And a lot of people say we won the war because of what he created. Almost silent engines, by the way, when they was and they was propeller driven. They called, I think it was the Halifax, might have been the Hercules, but I think the Japanese called them the Whispering Death, because they just flew over and went bomb. And next thing you know, you was being hit by bombs all over the place. So I'm sure that someone knows his name out there. Does anyone know his name? I think his name is in there. Is it Fedden? Fedden and Butler? So Fedden was the engineer, and then there was another one. These engines were fantastic. If John Harding's listening to this, he's probably heard the guy's name, Fedden. He was like a top engineer. Caused a massive problem when they sacked him. They fired him, and the king give him a knighthood. But it just goes to show how they mistreat people like us. He only had the country's interest in heart. It wasn't his own financial gain. He even gave the company back because they'd give him so much money. And it happened to someone else I know, funny enough. My dad's partner in the business, his son was an engineer. He went to work for a lift company, and he designed them a lift that was so popular and so fantastic. And then he went out selling it to clients in tower blocks and businesses and all that. And they all started buying this thing. And it turned out that he was, I think he'd earned just under £1 million in commission. And the directors got the ump because he was earning more than them, right? But he designed it. They was all learning their corner, but then all got all jealousy on him. Because he had solved a problem. Engineering is about solving problems, and that's the bit that I get at. So I hope this ain't been too boring tonight, because I'm sort of half telling you. It's a bit like me with the law, right? Like when I was doing the Volkswagen Caravels, I knew them inside out, right? When I had that website, a guy come all the way from Malta. And he said and I had people coming from Australia to buy them off me, right? But what they said was, what we're amazed about is your website is in front of Volkswagen. And I said, because that's what I hone in on. I'm honing in. If you want to be the best in saying, lots of people can sell Volkswagen Caravels, but if you want to be the best, if you want people to trust you, you have to know them vehicles inside out. So when they buy them off of you, right, as an individual, they know that you won't allow that vehicle to go out of your site and be sold to a customer unless it's absolutely like brand new mechanically, right? Can't do something. If a chair's got a bit of a stain on it, it's second hand. There's nothing you can do about things like that. You can make it look a little bit better, but mechanically, you should be as sound as a pound, right? And that's why people trusted me, and that's why the business done so well. But it was the engineering side of them vehicles that I loved. People didn't realise they weren't just vans. They was a different production line. They weren't vans with seats in like Transits and Mercedes. It was a separate production line that manufactured them vehicles. The chassis and frames on them were built different to the Volkswagen Transporter van. The Transporter van was a van with seats in it. A Volkswagen Caravan and a Volkswagen multivan is a different production line, and every part of that vehicle protected the occupants, right? And then I had all the designs, technical designs for it. At one point, I won't say what I was going to do, but well, I will. I was thinking about actually trying to get the engineering plans and them to license me to sell the T4s. and to manufacture the T4, to manufacture the engines, because they're just superb, right? And the highest mileage I ever saw was 924,000 with one vehicle, and they changed the oil, and it's a bit like that guy, and developing that engine. He understood what he needed to do and what you need to do to look after a motor. Anyway, there you go. Lie to both sides tragically. Don't forget Arkwright. What was the Arkwright one? So I've covered up. So John, don't forget John Harding's birthday tomorrow, 83 tomorrow, and he had a fall earlier on in the week. So send him some good wishes. Let me have a look. Oh yeah, look, someone's just sent me something. Let's have a look. I found my old Lestrada today on my pictures. It's gorgeous. Let's have a look at this one. Lestrada. Oh, coolest on this. How much is that worth? No one sent me a picture to see. You need to tell me how much it is. 2 dear. Fucking hell. That is absolutely gorgeous, though. It's not the long wheelbase. Lestrada region, L2, black camper van, 3 travelling seat belts, rear wet room with cassette toilet, shower, and bouncing. Not sure if I got the money for that. It's a bit too dear. Mileage. Well, I'd like to see the mileage on that. Oh, that could be worth looking at, though. If it is that mileage, that could be worth looking at. Who's just sent me that? My favourite person has just sent me that. That's a fucking tool. That's what I mean. They're fucking gorgeous, them things. Is that a manual, though? That is an absolute tool. I would travel the country in that, and I wouldn't be homeless. That's the main thing. All I'd need is someone to say, Gray, I've got a field over there. Go and sit in that. And I'll go, all right then. Right. We're driving vehicles with 700 cross miles, although always cool my cars. That's in John. Let me have a quick look. Anyone out there? It's not coming up at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow night, I'm on 412, and I've no doubt we're going to be having a conversation about the King and his speech and various other things. But things are happening out there. Arkwright, open all hours. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, John Harding. Happy birthday to you. Still well, Scotland, England. Be wise. Exactly that. England will prevail. It will indeed. Woohoo. Made up. So don't forget to hit the like button. If you're all watching this, hit the like button. It's crucially important, right? The second thing is to subscribe, and especially come over to Rumble, set a channel up, and come up and just and remember your passwords, remember what you logged in with and all that, right? I can't help you with things like that. But we need our numbers, because on this channel, we want to go well in excess of 10,000, right? I'm not too interested in YouTube for obvious reasons. They've took me down enough times. But Rumble is very difficult for them to attack us, because they do believe in free speech. AGNR, the engineer was Alfred Fedden. I thought it was Roy Fedden, but he was knighted. That's him. Has anyone seen that? Fedden. I wonder if he designed the engine, the Fedden, or the trucks, Fedden and Atkinson. Fedden. There used to be a truck called Fedden. But the other thing I was going to say to you, there's another engineer out there, and for life of me, I can't remember his name. Lord something, the geezer who owns JCB, and he has just redesigned a complete hydro engine, right? Hydrogen engine. Let me tell you something. People like him don't put money into production lines and proper engineering, and they try to adapt to diesel engine, and they said this isn't going to work. We need to really cast our own cylinder heads, our own bores, and they did the whole thing from scratch. and now they have got a proper. They've got tractors running on them. They've got lorries running on them. And what does it run on? Hydrogen. What is the exhaust? Pure water. You can't make this up, right? He went, all right, I'll make you an engine that runs on hydrogen. That's it, Lord Bamford. I like it. I like it. I like his museum of old cars. And I was talking to John Harding today, and he was telling me, because when he lived, we were talking about motorbikes, and he said, I fell over, he said, but I don't bounce too well these days. And I said, no, nor do I, John. That's why I give up motorcycles. He said, I give up motorcycles when I was 22. And I went, well, you had more sense than me then, when he was 22. And he went, yeah, but he said, I went into Mrs. Wilkes. She stopped right in front of me, and I went straight over the car and bounced about 4 times, and then I was all twisted up. And then he said, Mr. So-and-so, the butcher, pulled up in his Zodiac. I was like, thing is, I remember the Zodiacs, right? So I must be getting old, right? I went, John, I remember the full Zodiacs. He said, well, he was the butcher. He said he had a private number plate. It was HSV 555. He told me what the registration number was, right? And I'm like, I can remember my dad's full Cortina, Mark II, 1600E, right? It was an absolute tool. I used to go out and polish it, and all my mates would be walking past, and I'd be, yeah, it's my dad's car, isn't it? I mean, it was hilarious. Anyway, I thought I'd give you a laugh. Yeah, Ford Zodiac. And he said, yeah, and he taught me to ask. No, he said, oh dear, John. It's like, I love listening to John Harding, right? He fucking makes me laugh. Right, he goes, yeah, the bench seats, the Zodiacs were the bench seats, right? And they had that little, I'll tell you a story in a minute, right? But, you know, remember the handbrakes come out in the middle, and you twist them and push them back in again. But I'll tell you another story. And then he went, yeah, so Mr. Willis, the butcher, right? He said, you need to go to the factory, John. I was like sitting there listening. I love listening to John Harding, right? And his accent, right? And then I said, have you still got your full-on Devon accent? He said, no. He said, but when I was a kid, I used to talk like Jethro. I love Jethro, right? And he was talking, he's just making me laugh. He cheers me up when he's talking. He rings up and he's not very well, and I don't like him not being well, but he always finds a way cheering me up. He says something that makes me laugh, right? And yeah, but getting back to that, so my dad had a Zephyr 6, fucking great big car, right? And our driveway used to point like that into Belgrove Road in Welling. So if you know Shooters Hill, if you come down Shooters Hill from the police station, you go over the hill and come back down, and on the left there's a petrol garage, right? Well, my dad lived opposite that, or lives opposite that, and his driveway's like that. Right, he widened his driveway because he was going to buy a Rolls Royce. I was going, yeah, go on, buy a Rolls Royce, Dad. Go on. I'll show you to work, right? But anyway, cut long story short, I'm sitting in the car. I can't remember how. We hadn't lived there long, so I was probably 4 or 5, right? It might even be before I made the dinosaur, right? So imagine me being younger. Right, so before I made Baby Dragon, right? Which I think I made when I was about 6. Right, put him back on my little shelf so he don't go arse over tit. And I'm sitting in the car, so we're getting ready to go to Laysdown, right? Because my dad and my family all had chalets down at Laysdown, and he's putting it stuff in the boot, and I thought, oh, I've watched Dad do this, right? So I've got hold of the handbrake, twisted it, and pushed it in, and the car is on an hill. Shooters Hill is like cars going like that, right? And then he's grabbed hold of it. He's had to put his heels into the concrete, right? Just holding back. My dad was a big man, right? He was holding this thing, holding the bump, holding the thing. And all he could think of was I was sitting in the car, right? And he was shouting out, "Help! Help!" Like that, right? So the mechanic that was working on the cars in the garage off it. I've got a video of my dad. I'll have to show it on here, talking about our history and everything, right? The mechanic's come running over from the. He heard him. He's come over. He said, "What's that?" With big greasy hands and put lint in the car. I'm sitting, "What the fuck you want?" Right? And he's gone like that. Do you know what I mean? And my dad got up and went, "You little fucker," right? Or "You little bleeder," or whatever it was. Do you know what I mean? And there's me running down the garden. Right? And you've got a wall at the end of the garden. There was all brambles on the other side of it. And let me tell you something now. I pole vaulted over this fucking wall. I started running towards the woods. And then he was going, "Graham, come back. We're going on holiday. I won't hit you." All right? And I was like, "Oh, all right then." Come back. I didn't know, did I? That funny thing in there was going to roll the fucking car. My dad screaming in the back, "Help!" Yeah, and then my mum was saying to me, "That was funny. Don't touch that." And then about, God, how long? 25 years later? Maybe less. I had a Jag with the same thing, Mark 2 Jag. Right? And I'm sitting in Plumstead, left the kids in the car, which I shouldn't have done. Me and the wifey went in this shop, and there was a jeans shop in Plumstead. I've walked in there, and then someone's come in and said, "Who's got a blue Jag?" I said, "I have." "Why?" He said, "Come out here." And I've looked, right, my car had rolled down the hill and was sitting on top of another car at the front like that. And the bloke went, and it was, I won't say who it was who owned the other car, but he went, "Just pull it off," right? So I've started the car up, pulled it back. Emma, my daughter, was having an easy fit back of the car. Poor cow, right? "It weren't me, Dad, it weren't me. It was him." And it was Chris. He had took the handbrake off, done exactly what I'd done. It rolled down the hill and then landed on top of this other car, literally, right? But when I pulled it off, the bloke went to me, "Oh my God." I was thinking, "Oh, fuck," right? And he went, "There ain't even a scratch on the Jag." I went, "That's all right." And he went, "I ain't come out, you know." I said, "Who?" He said, "The Pakistanis that own it." See you later. Boom. Right, that was it. It was off. But there you go. Life happens like that, doesn't it? Love the old cars. After the Austin 10s, they were all the cars to be proud of. Yeah, but they destroyed our car industry, didn't they? I mean, look what fucking Blair did. He sold Rover, the brand itself. He sold the brand Rover for £1. For £1. Unbelievable stuff. Kew Gardens, you know, Mark Hampson. I picked up my grandson today from school in Eastbourne. Jags are now woke and gay. Now they are. They're not like they used to. Anyone remember the Mark 10 Jag? Do you remember the Mark 10? That was a tool. That was a proper, what we called a gangster's car. That's what the craze had, wasn't it? Everyone wanted a Mark 10 Jag because the craze had a Mark 10 Jag. I was like, we'll go to an E-Type then. Anyway, I have finished I do hope you've enjoyed tonight. It was, I was just trying to explain a few things, and especially in relation to that Barret geezer, who's an absolute wrong one. My dad had a Jag 8. All right. No, Graham, can you give... Oh, really important. Thank you, Noth. I'm going to put that up on the screen if I can. Right. This is really important, and I forgot to say it to you. Somewhere on my screen, I've actually got a message. I think I'd have to go back, right? But Graham, can you give the Restore meeting next month at a Downham Market shout out? Thank you. all of us are welcome. Contact invites at Southwest Norfolk at restorebritain.org.uk. Now I'm going to put that on the screen. I'm not sure if it'll blow up anymore. I don't think it will. It's really important that people. So we've got a lot, and I do mean a lot, of support in Norfolk and Suffolk, right? But Norfolk in particular. So I need to send this information to people, and I'm going to try and send it. You'll have to remind me. Send it. I've got to send it to someone else, right? So we need people talking about the English Constitution in Norfolk. Don't. If you reference England, me, the channel, or whatever, talk about the English Constitution Society, because it is non-political, it is educational, right? But they're quite happy for English constitutionalists to come along, and they want as much help as possible. Norfolk is crucially important to England. Suffolk is, and Devon is. Cumbria is, Northumberland is, County Durham is. I can go through the ones that we've got to take back, and from there we will take back the cities, and including the City of London, the capital city of England, right? But we need to do this in a very structured way. So again, it is on your screen. So if you support the English Constitution Society, you want to go and have a listen to what they're saying in Norfolk. Remember, talk, and we need you to talk of England, right? Downham Market, and that is, so if you're living in Norfolk and in that area, go there. It's Downham Market, and all of us are welcome. Contact invites at Southwest, so SW Norfolk at restorebritain.org.uk. Now, I need in some way to send that to another group of people, because we've got an event coming up in Norfolk. Let me have a look at it. And Andrew Bridgen is going to that as well. Right, so I'm going to put that information out there, and I am going to try and send that to, let's see if I can bring him up on the screen. Put that on there. And hopefully, let's go and put that on there again, Mark. Chris and Mark, put that one on there. I'm looking forward to that event in Norfolk, by the way. And let me see if I can find Chris again. Chris is superb. I don't know if, let's see if Chris is on here. No, I don't know if he got his actual number on there. But that's from LSB Studios. Really important for people to get this. They also have an event with guitars, and we've got one of ours, which I'm going to try and find now. Let's see if I can go and find him. Let's see if I can go and find him. He ain't sent anything through tonight. Trust him. Look. He's having a night off just as I start talking. Oh, Jim. So Jim, I call him the music man, good patriot. He is superb lead guitarist, right? But if anyone's listening out there, Jim, I don't know if Jim even listens to the show anymore. He's certainly in our group, but or if anyone's listening to this, see if Jim can come along or even get a camper or do something and come along there and see if he can play guitar that night. It'd be fantastic. Lead guitar. What lead? Play at Norfolk Good. I'll just send him a quick message. He won't see that. Or he might ring me and ask me. Let me have a look at this, Jason. Lucy, please remind Graham on the English US Constitution Bill of Rights. Jason, thank you. I am going to be doing that, and I'll keep asking you to make notes and remind me. I am going to be doing that. But Jason, did you see not only President Trump's speech, but also the King Charles III's speech in Congress, where he said almost word for word the English Bill of Rights was transferred to the United States of America? That's really important. In fact, there's a lot more that was said on that, and it is crucially important because it verified everything that I've been telling people, and the King of England said it, and so did President Trump, right? But someone sent me, it won't be on that one. It'll probably be on that one. Let's have a look and see if I can find him. Let me have a look and see if I can find him. Simon Lacey is another superb patriot. He sent me a message. Hi Graham, I have attached today, and we know video where he has kindly added two separate speeches by Trump, taking specifically about England with the other nations. So, and we knows that there's a separation between England and British, right? He also showed Trump ordered the army to dress in continental gear from the period of the War of Independence for the King, which I found hilarious. Time of speeches, and it tells you. I've got to go and watch this video, by the way. Maybe, I don't know how long they are. I could click it and see if they come up. But from English towns and Scottish hills goes on. They called it New England and meant it very literally. And as the founding father George Mason wrote, we claim nothing but the liberty and privileges of Englishmen in the same degree as if we had still continued among our own brethren when we were in Great Britain. Great Britain is not British, it's an island, right? Continues with, and it says, Americans carry the rarest of gifts, moral courage, but it came from a small and mighty kingdom from across the sea nearly 2 centuries before the Revolutionary War. The English love of ancient liberty, Runnymede. I hope you check out the speeches. Some good Q-coms in there too. Blessings, kind regards, Simon Lacey. So everyone should understand it ain't a game, right? And some people do understand the difference. I had someone just said they had a Mark 10 Jag at RMA. DD, I had a Mark 10 when I was 21. Front seats dropped down and back seat was 5 foot wide. Yeah, fucking tall, mate. Gooner Mum. Archer not. Sharing is caring. Don't forget to share. Don't forget the message out there. America now has its sovereignty back. We need to get England to get its sovereignty back and send these other people back to where they come from. That's it. I will say good night, God bless. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution, right? And people need to understand that. I will leave you with this one. Ivermectin, Daddy Dragon on Rumble. So Ivermectin, 6 strips, minimum order, no maximum, £15 each, strip of 10. Email graham.moore at protonmail.com. Subject Ivermectin, then state how many strips required, full name and address and postcode. You have the right to self-defense by any means. That's it. Good night. God bless. And I will see you tomorrow evening. And then I'll be doing a 412 show.